I'm so excited today. I have my beautiful friend back on my YouTube. You guys have been asking me, bring Bella back.
Oh,
And Bella has been super busy. And look at her. She is more gorgeous. She is shining brighter than ever. I'm so happy for her. She has been This is the seventh podcast with her, and she has been super busy focusing on her dream job that she's been building up for a long period of time. And as she is a musician, she made it work. And this healthy voice work has been flourishing. And she is here. She's a generous person. She's back and she's going to share her expertise to help you with this healthy voice. So, welcome back, Bella. So excited to have you back.
what a nice welcome. Thank you. I've missed you and I've missed your audience a lot. And that's really sweet that I didn't know people were asking you about me. That's nice. Thank you for sharing that. I'm really happy to be here. As you know, but I'll just say it out loud. I reached out to you because I wanted to do a reunion show with you because I just launched my course, my voice liberation course. And I've been working so hard at it for the last 2.5 months and building my whole platform, the Healthy Voice. And it's kept me so busy since October. And now I can finally breathe. And I thought it would be great to sit down and talk to you because I'd like to reconnect with the raw vegan audience. And also, even in my own audience, I want to start talking more about nutrition. I want to start bringing it back up to the surface. So I thought this would be a perfect way to launch that.
Yeah, what a great title, though. The voice liberation.
Mhm.
And if you guys saw the Instagram and YouTube thumbnail, it's Bella who made it. I just love your creation. It's so bright. And there's Mount Fuji and cherry blossom. And it's very hard to see right behind. There's a ume plum flower in full bloom.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I see it.
Yeah, it's white and their back wall is white, so you can't see. It's beautiful and it's so blossoming.
Mhm.
So yeah, so congratulations on Healthy Voice launch. I know you have a new community and people are loving it. You've got your Substack is amazing, right? If anyone hasn't subscribed to Bella, that's very generous information out there for free.
Thank you, Kiko. Yeah. Would it be okay if I just shared like
Of
what it's
course,
been
let's do
doing?
that. Hmm.
Okay, so in October, I think it was October, the very beginning, or perhaps the very end of September, I decided to launch my YouTube channel, The Healthy Voice. I originally made it The Healthy Singer because I've always been a voice teacher of mostly singing, even though I have done a lot of speech work as well. And I wanted to incorporate all the things I love, all the things I've ever worked at in my whole life, which is quite a mix of different things, of things that I couldn't quite figure out how to connect, but I knew there was some way to connect them. I started out in my young adult life working at a domestic violence shelter as somebody who worked the crisis hotline. And I worked the overnight shift where I welcomed the women in. A lot of times the police were escorting them in, and
Wow.
I had to learn how to intervene during a crisis. And I became a really good listener at that time. I became really good at holding space for somebody who's freaking out. And um, I decided not to become a social worker after working that job for 3 years. And I ended up teaching music after that. And so I've been a music
3
teacher.
years is a
3 years.
long time for this intense work.
It's a long time. Yeah, yeah. And I'm happy to talk about it. Like if there are any questions you have, because I know it's something that most people don't ever get to experience. And quite unusual, and I've never really talked about it until recently.
Oh wow, Bella, I love that you have a beautiful combination. You're a very successful business person. At the same time, the core is like very deep, compassion, and love inside of it. And I love that combination. I love. It's very rare to find, successful business people with that deep compassion. So yes,
Mm,
um,
thank you. Yeah, I when I was in college, at the same time I was working at the domestic violence shelter, the reason I got into social work was because I wanted to be of service. I wanted to help, and I was minoring in religious studies, and I ended up. My college had this professor who was a Unitarian minister, and in the '60s he had been a civil rights activist, and so all of his classes incorporated elements of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. Those were, so I took all of his classes. And so I learned a lot about Gandhi and Gandhi's principles. And at that time, I decided that I was going to live my life according to his principles. And so I've spent my whole life trying really hard to be that way. And there are certain things I had to learn. There are some things you can't be a pacifist about. And so I did have to kind of learn how to stand up for myself in a slightly more aggressive way at times. But the point I'm making is responding to what you just said. In college, I wanted to be a social worker because I wanted to be of service. I did this 3 years in a like an intense crisis situation environment. I decided I did not want to work in social work for the rest of my life for many reasons that I've never really talked about. There were some things I saw in the, I want to call it an industry, even though it's a nonprofit world for the most part. There were things I did not like about the social work world that I did not want to be a part of. I felt they actually went against my code that I was developing from a lot of these Gandhi like and Martin Luther King like philosophies. And I
mhm,
decided I think my services would be better in perhaps another way, but I didn't know how. I really didn't know how. And I started teaching music as survival because I didn't know any other way to make a living. And then, of course, along the way, I got into massage therapy, got into yoga, got into,
you with someone with so many interests and
yeah,
talent.
I know. So I even like got into Buddhism, which you and I have talked about
Yeah.
before. Like for 6 years, I was a hardcore student of Buddhist meditation, and I really embodied those principles too. I really tried to live my life as if I were a Buddhist without being one officially. And then I didn't want to do that anymore. So but always along the lines was music and teaching, singing. And
Mhm,
so there's like a whole backstory, but essentially, I got into a situation in my 20s where I was shut down vocally. I couldn't. It actually didn't manifest until my early 30s, where I had been a professional musician. Like from the time I was making a living off of music by the time I was 24 years old, and then when I was 30, I left a bad situation that left me a bit traumatized and in shock. And I had to kind of go back to my days in social work to try to remember the things I learned in my training. And because I couldn't sing anymore on stage, and I couldn't even really sing on my own. It was such a bad situation. And like I said, I was making a living with music.
mhm,
So I was in a bad situation.
mhm,
And last year, and the few years leading up to when I launched, I had started doing all these experimental practices that I had learned from sound healing, from classical voice training in my earlier days. And I found that I was healing my blocks. And so
mhm,
I decided to take some of the principles and teach them to some in person students, and they were working. And
mhm.
so last September, you and I were still doing our podcasting together. I decided to post a video to my YouTube channel with this throat massage. So I used my massage background, my yoga background, my trauma training, and I put it all into a video and it went viral. And I just started getting thousands of subscribers a week and it just kind of took off. And that's why I had to be like, Kiko, I can't keep up with this. Like we have to take a pause.
was perfect though. That's so great. I love it. I miss you. And I really enjoy doing the podcast with you. And I actually decided to keep on going with our podcast. I have numbered it number 7. We don't know next time when we can do it, but I love my friends to fly, and you just went like like like, military plan, like really viral. But you, as you were saying, all of you have done in your life, you just connected and you were able to merge all your expertise and be able to help people. People are looking for this, right?
Oh my God. I have well, at this point the shock is worn off, but I was so surprised at the response I got because I expected I expected a few hundred people, maybe 1,000. I was anticipating like 1,000 devoted followers on my YouTube channel that I could maybe turn into clients and maybe we could get a small community. I did not expect thousands and thousands of people. Even right now, the last time I checked, I'm over 27,000 subscribers. And just last week, I was at 25,000. So it's growing so fast. And the reason is because surprisingly, a lot of people can relate to this experience of feeling like their voice problems are related to long-term unresolved trauma,
Mm.
which I think there's a connection point here with the raw vegan community because I think it's very much a health situation that we're talking about here.
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to say something? I want to be respectful.
No, no, no. Go ahead. I
Okay.
love it. And yeah, I guess I the voice is so it's great that you changed the title name from healthy singer, was it, to
Mhm.
health and voice revelation. I mean, I just said, wow, what a genius title. I mean, name for it, liberation, because there's we just hold so much, and it's not, yeah, when we are sad or when you're stressed, my voice changes as well, and people pick up like as a coach and facilitator, the
Mhm.
way I present my voice is so important, right? And this actually changes how the people trust me, how the way people like me, and it has an amazing impact. So yes, please go ahead.
Yes, I'm glad you said that because that's one very important element to the work that I'm trying to do because our voice is us. It's the I, it's the me, it's the soul, it's the inner essence of who we are, and it's made manifest through sound. So
Mm,
every time you speak, you're sharing your inner world with the audience, whether it's one person or several, it doesn't really matter. You are sharing who you are at your core. And that can change, like you said, from moment to moment. So if you're really stressed out, it's going to cause a tension in the muscles around here because stress is a fear response, and so fear creates a tension pattern in the body which causes tightness around the throat. And so when you're stressed out, your voice becomes constricted and it becomes high
mhm,
pitched, so you can hear it. Now, even if you're not somebody who's trained to hear fluctuations in the voice, you can feel the energetic shift. And so, like you were saying, when you're doing your work, your voice work, because, I don't know if everybody knows this, but, you do interpretation work and you're a travel guide. So you're constantly using your voice in your work. And if you're not aware of your internal energy, then you're going to have an inadvertent effect on how you're received.
mm.
So you are somebody who takes very good care of yourself. You're a very balanced person, and so you're always making an effort to make sure the inside is matching the outside. Other people who are not aware of this, they don't realize that unconsciously what they're doing is they're sending out these energetic patterns. And so some people really struggle in their relationships, whether it's professional or social, and they don't realize that what they're doing is their energy patterns are being sent out through
Mhm.
their voices. They're not aware of it, they're just unconscious about their voice. They don't realize that they're sending out this fear pattern.
Okay. So if they're not integrated with their belief and your lifestyle, it just naturally comes out in your voice. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Like whatever it is you're feeling inside is coming out in your voice, whether you realize it or not. I that's why I teach voice lessons, because what I have learned is that when you become aware of this and you have a regular voice practice, you can also change your energy field through your voice. So, like I use my voice as an antenna or a messenger to let me know what's going on inside of me, because like I said, it can be quite unconscious. If I'm really stressed out and I'm in a hurry, I'm
Mhm.
not thinking about my voice. I don't have time to think about it. But as soon as I feel that, oh, we lost Kiko, but I'm
Oh,
still on.
it's
So okay, here we go.
oh,
Okay.
it's so powerful that you can control like whatever you're going through. You might be stressful, like uh you're there to help the client to liberate the trauma, right? That's so powerful.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so let's talk about that for a moment. So, if somebody has been through, a lot of the people who are drawn to me have been through what we now know is called narcissistic abuse. I say it like that because when I was doing my training in domestic violence, and I did many trainings, it's not like you do just one training to work in that field. You're continuously getting education. And I went to college for sociology and I took classes in child abuse. And I took a lot. I had a lot of education on this subject. I never once heard the term narcissistic abuse. This is a very new thing.
Mm-hmm.
We were only focused on, we heard words like power and control. Okay, like that was like at the base of everything we learned. But the physical violence was like the number one thing we were focused on, physical violence. Narcissistic abuse
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily ever turn into physical violence. Sometimes it does, but not always. And it's very sinister. It's very under the surface. It's very sneaky. And I only recently started learning about it in the last 10 years or so. And now we have this incredible population of psychologists who are educating the whole world on what this is. And a lot of those people who have been, I'll call them survivors of this kind of abuse, are very much drawn to my work. So if you've ever been in a situation where you were in a relationship with somebody who was very manipulative, very sneaky, and you could never figure out why you always felt like the bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
when like maybe in your work or in your friendships, like people think of you as this really nice person who's very caring and giving, but you're in a relationship with somebody who is always telling you how selfish you are and how rude you are, or just making you believe that you are this very difficult person, which is what happened to me. So I'm kind of using my examples. And so
Here in Japan, we call it moral harassment. This happens a lot. So
interesting.
narcissistic is not a term that's used a lot here, but moral harassment is it happens. Yeah, it's very common, especially in a society where everyone behaves well and there's certain expectation from the society. So this seems to happen a lot in the couple. Interesting.
Moral harassment.
Mhm. Isn't
Moral
that close to say like moral, like morally you're not supposed like you this is not correct. It's not illegal, but what you're doing is not morally correct, right?
I
Is
like
that
this.
similar to
I
more?
like that better than narcissistic what does that mean? Like I really have a problem with Western psychological terminology. I think it's very confusing. I feel like it takes way too long to understand what the definitions are. Moral harassment. You're harassing a person's moral character in a way.
Mhm.
You are confusing them. Another word I like is perspecticide. It's where you murder someone's perspective. It's when you it's when you put them through so much abuse that you put them into such a state of confusion that they no longer trust their own perspective.
Mhm.
And so when that happens and you are a moral person, you actually do care about how you're perceived, you will start to censor yourself. You will start to shut down your own voice. And so, if you have been in a pattern like this with anybody, it could have been a romantic partner, a friend. We called those, I call those mean girls. Like I had the mean girl friendship when I was in middle school. Like it's a stereotype that boys abuse physically, whereas girls get you from the inside. They cut your soul in half.
Yeah.
So anytime you've ever had like a mean girl relationship, or a parent can be this kind of person in your life where you just really don't trust yourself anymore. You don't trust who you are. You don't trust your voice, and you're not connected to your voice in any way. There's a total disconnect. You become unconscious. And so that's why I say you can repair some of this damage through your voice because you got detached from the relationship with your voice by healing the relationship, by becoming aware of your own vibrations again, literally the physical vibrations, by cultivating a patient relationship with your voice, you can start to heal some of those unconscious fear patterns that are stuck inside your body.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
It does. I'm just wondering, by doing so, with your clients that you've been working, that now they can sort of, I don't know how, manipulate, and as they can control, not much manipulate, but maybe control their voice better with your guidance. I just wonder if their life changes. For example, someone, if they're in a toxic relationship, they are able to recognize and maybe leave easier. I'm just going very fast with my thoughts, but
I'm understanding you.
mhm.
And I'll give you an example from my own life and how, yes, the answer is yes. Yes, that's one of the reasons why I want this to reach people, because one of my main motivations is I want to teach people how to take their power back. Because when you've been in a situation like this, it is so debilitating. And anybody who has been through this understands what I'm talking about. And it almost feels impossible to heal from because you lose your sense of self-worth and you lose your confidence, and that makes you a continuous victim. It makes you a continuous target by these people. That's why when you've been in a relationship with somebody in this moral harassment dynamic, this narcissistic abuse, it makes you a continuous target for other people. Like you feel like you have a target on your forehead. So let me give you an example of my own life when I started mastering this practice. So I've been on this healing path for a long time, for well over 10 years. I would say I went raw vegan. So I went raw vegan about over 11 years ago. And I would say that was the starting point. I started with my body, I started with the physical first. Then 6 years later, I found I was having a lot of anxiety and a lot of like mental health issues were coming up. And so I realized I had to really get a handle on my energy. And when I left my situation over 15 years ago, I realized that I had a target on my forehead. I realized that being in that situation made me a target for other people like that. And so I decided I was going to do everything I could to learn how to stand in my own power. And so even before I was really connecting the dots, I
Mm.
was working with my own voice because I was working with my own energy. And so they're hand in hand. And I realized that if my voice shook, it was a sign to a predator, a manipulative person, that I was easy prey. I realized that. And so here's my example in real life where I really got to practice this. So I'm going to be very careful in how I describe this person because they are quite public. So I've worked in Hollywood for a long time. I've been in LA for like 22 years or something like that. And I've always had Hollywood clientele. And for the most part, they've all been really, really great. But there was this one producer who wanted piano lessons from me. And I knew his personality ahead of time. I knew him already from peripherally. And his personality is like a stereotype of Hollywood, like very aggressive, very intense, used to, accustomed to yelling at people and just getting away with it. Like no no account, never ever any accountability because he just has too much power. He has so much power. No one would ever dare stand up to him. And I'm aware of this and he's asking me for piano lessons and I'm thinking I'm going to do this and I'm going to use it as an excuse for me to practice this very thing that I'm trying to master. I know I my personal trigger is powerful, angry men who yell at people. So I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to go in. I am going to establish that I'm in charge because you hired me to teach you. So I'm not going to bow down to you because I'm not working for you in that way. You hired me to be someone to be in charge, and I'm going to take up this role. So I'm even thinking about it now and I'm getting like I gotta breathe. I gotta breathe.
Wow. It's very easy to say than done. I have challenged myself like this many times, and I can't wait to hear what happened.
You've been in this situation. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. So it started with a mental talk with myself. First, I had to say, first of all, he lives in a huge house. Of course he does. He's got everything, everything. But I have to tell myself, I am on equal terms with this person. I have to convince myself I am I am just as powerful. He may not know it yet, but I'm just as powerful as any other person he would associate with. I'm just as talented. I'm just as successful. And maybe I don't have the same things physically, but energetically, I know that I'm on equal terms. And so I had to convince myself of that every single time I went inside. And I had to believe it. I had to walk like somebody. I had to dress like somebody who would dress. I had to speak like somebody who would speak. And so it's essentially acting in a way. I had to imagine what a character like that I just described would look like and sound like. And every time he would get frustrated and I would feel that like "Arr," I had to go I would have to talk like this, which signaled you're the only one getting flustered here. No one else is getting upset. And it worked. It worked.
That is so powerful. Oh my God. Congratulations. That's amazing, Bella, that you were able to do this.
It was a really good feeling, and you know what else? I just wanna say this because I think I think people need to hear this. He really appreciated me. I know he appreciated me, and I know this because I've always known that bullies like being stood up to. I've always known this in theory, but it's very hard to stand up to a bully. It's very hard. It's very hard to do it in a dignified way. I would always think about if you got have you ever seen the movie Gandhi?
Yeah. Hmm.
Do you remember the scene where it's the first time the British troops have come in
Hmm.
and all the Indians are standing up and they're unarmed? There's just a mass of Indians unarmed, and the British soldiers are on the other side, and they actually start shooting, from what I recall.
Hmm.
And the shame that these British soldiers feel of shooting at unarmed people is so great that they can't do it. They put their guns down and they refuse to fight. And the strength it took for these Indians to stand unarmed, knowing that they were going to die, that is so powerful. I mean, that is such dignity. Or I think
Yeah.
about Martin Luther King doing his protests and the dogs being unleashed and the hoses coming out and him telling everybody to not fight back, to be a model of dignity. That's basically what it is. And when you show up in a dignified manner and someone who's used to being a bully sees you being dignified, it makes them feel a little crunchy. It makes them feel a little bad. And then they realize, oh, ooh, maybe I'm the bad guy here.
Mm.
It makes them change their tune. But it's very hard to get to that point, which is why my my motivation for doing this is if I can show people how to become more aware of their voice, then they can learn how to stand their ground in undignified situation and become the person who says, through example alone, what are you doing, dude? Why are you acting like this?
This is so beautiful. And maybe this is a good time to share what DSM wrote. Is your name actually Bella Pain? It's too perfect that your work is trauma informed and your name is Beautiful Pain. I've never thought about it.
I know. I thought about that too. It's really wild. My name really is Pain. Bella is a nickname that I got a long time ago, and I actually when I decided to adopt the nickname full time, I thought about changing my last name. Um, and it's funny. I had this intuition that I should not change the last name, and I didn't know why. There
Mm.
was something in my mind that was understanding the metaphor between the two words together, and it still didn't make a full amount of sense, but now it makes sense. Now I'm really glad that I ended up keeping it because that is exactly what I do. You're right. I'm trying to teach people how to turn their pain into something beautiful.
Wow, that's beautiful. And DSM also mentioned, thanks for your content, Bella. Love hearing your journey to making your channel what it is. It's so unique, well informed, and personally, I find it at the perfect timing. That's great.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
That's great. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to distract. I mean,
Oh,
your
it's good.
story was so powerful. That
Mm.
is powerful. So you ended up working for him, and was he ever attack? Did he ever attack? Like not. I mean, did he try to bring you down?
No, and I don't think he was ever trying to bring me down. I think he was just piano is frustrating. It's very frustrating to learn an instrument. And when you are already so used to not controlling your frustration, it's going to come out in a lesson. So I never took it personally at all, at all. And I really feel like he respected me a lot because of that.
That's so powerful.
Mm,
And I hate here in Japan when someone bullies, right? Like when or fight, we always say like there's no, both of them are equally bad. And I don't want to attack people who has been victimized.
mm,
Uh, but if there's a way, right, there's a calling for someone like you to help people to be able to shift the energy so that they won't be the prey of people who, little, they just want to play with the little insect, and that might come with, oh, this person I can just play around, and it's an easy prey, and that could come with their voice, right?
mm.
How if they're timid and they look so fragile, they would never want to attack. The bully people. They would never attack the bigger people. They want to attack someone easy, an easy target.
It's really interesting. This is a big this is a big motivator for me, this thing that you're talking about, because for me, I've always been I was basically trained to be a target of people like this from the time I was very young. I was just around so many people, and I think also I'm wired for I love people. I've always loved being around people. And so it was never really an option for me to just go away and not be around people. So I was always trying to get people to like me. And I'm also a fighter. And so when people would try to there were many times I fought back. I'm not necessarily a passive person, but I had to learn that even fighting back is can be a bit of a weakness and actually can make you even more of a target, because
Mhm.
what ends up happening is these people see you as somebody who what they really want is your reaction. They want you to be upset. And so whether it comes out in the form of shouting back or a very timid and squeezed and tight voice that can barely get the words out, or a stutter, or whatever it is, they enjoy it. And once I realized that they enjoy the fear, that was a very upsetting realization, I'll admit, because it's way easier. For many years of my life, I thought that if I could just become tougher and quicker with my tongue, which I am actually. I can fight words with people very easily if I had to. But I realized a while ago that that actually doesn't work. It
Mm,
does not make you more powerful. You may be able to momentarily shut someone down with your
yeah.
word. You are quick-witted enough, which I have been able to do that many times. But the lasting results are that they're always going to want to try to get back at you. You didn't actually quiet them. You just quieted them momentarily. And so that's why I wanted to learn how to handle somebody like the person I mentioned with few words, with my energy. And your energy is directly related to your voice. So as I start to get really excited, I start to speak faster and my voice gets a little higher in pitch. And then as I get more relaxed, I slow down and my voice drops in pitch. And people are more relaxed around people who are relaxed. And so if I want to calm a bully or at least get them to stop, then I have to get my own energy down
Mm,
to a calm place. And that's very difficult to do. But we can do it with breath work, with meditation practices, with physical movement. And that is all done in voice work. All of voice work encompasses breath work, physical work with and meditation, which is what I do with my toning practices, which is my sound healing practice that I do with my harmonium. You can't see it right now, but I teach people how to sing long sounds and how to control their voice on a long ah, because most people can't sing ah on a straight tone. If you try it right now, you can try it, and some people can do it. Yeah, you want to try it?
yeah. Hmm. Uh,
The sound cut out, so I couldn't hear you. But how did you do? Were you able to do it?
I think so. I mean, you just say just one uh uh.
That's good, Kiko. Yes. You have good control over your voice.
Oh, thank you.
It's really good. And what I find is that when people can control their voice, they can control their energy. When I worked at the women's shelter, so I was actually really good at it. I became sort of like the go-to for the most.
Of course, you're good at it. You're good at everything.
So at the shelter, so forgive me, I know this is hard for people to hear and talk about, but it's like I'm very comfortable talking about this stuff. The people who had gone through sexual violence were the most upset, to put it, simply. The ones who were dealing with the most chaos up here. And
Mm,
so I became the go-to person for people like that because I was the only one who could hold the space for them in a manner where they were able to get grounded enough to kind of speak at like a normal level. When you're very, very upset, you can't think clearly. You're in a total fear response. And you have to have somebody, when you're talking to someone, they have to be able to get totally grounded so that you can influence them to get their energy in control. And I learned how to do that on the job. And I know the reason I was able to do it is because of the music practice and the voice practice that I had prior to that. Because I was a classical voice student for 4.5 years before I got that job. I got that job when I was 19. I was very young. So I was only a year out of high school.
hmm
So all throughout high school, I was a classical voice student. And so I learned how to control my voice because of the consistent practice. And I know there's a direct connection between being able to control your voice and being able to control your energy.
hmm
Yeah. So,
I'm sorry. I was a little distracted with your beauty.
oh, you're
You look,
sweet.
you look so beautiful. Oh my God, Bella, you. I'm sorry. I don't know if about anyone, but you were speaking. I was like, wow, how gorgeous is she? You're. I was distracted. You're full of hair. I mean, you were gorgeous before, but I mean, I can see that you're in line with what you're supposed to do with your life. So I'm sorry, you were
So
speaking.
sweet. That's like the nicest distraction ever. Thank you. That is so sweet. Well, I'll take the reins then. How about that? Thank you very much, Kiko. That is really, really sweet. I do feel like I'm in my element totally. And why don't I go ahead and kind of like steer us into the nutrition?
Yes, thank
Because
you.
okay, so I want to share with you.
That's what I actually was thinking. Like,
Yeah,
what is she doing to? I mean, I know that you're aligned with what you're doing for work. That helps a lot for
yeah,
your beauty, but the fundamental is the raw vegan, right? Your diet that
yeah.
you put effort into. So what do you do?
Nothing has changed. It's the same thing as before. I'm just doing I do a huge salad as my main meal. I do a huge green smoothie still as my first meal of the day. I do fruit, and I do my favorite thing is like carrots and some kind of a dip, and seaweed. I love seaweed as a snack. Coconut
Seaweed,
water,
as in like wakame, like I know
nori.
the sheets
Yeah,
nori.
it's nori. I just eat that and green juice, and that's
That's helping your hair, I'm sure.
ooh.
Japanese people have a very full hair. Not now, but like in 80s, 90s, they all had a very beautiful full hair without any specific hair product. And I think it's because we eat so much nori and
Mhm.
seaweed.
I've
So
heard that before, and that's exciting to hear because I really enjoy it. It's a really nice, like salty
mhm.
snack. That's why I like it because I don't really crave sweets. I crave potato chips. Like that's
Yeah,
my food that I have to keep them out of the house because David will bring them into the house sometimes. And I'm like, would you please just hide them from me? It's I like the salty crunch. So I make sure I keep my pantry stocked with nori in order to, yeah. So, but
that shows in your hair. Yeah.
thank you. But I have not really talked about nutrition much in my healthy voice community. The only thing I've really done is in my free guide. I have a free beginner's guide to healing trauma through voice, body, and nutrition, and
Hmm.
and that's usually the first step that people take to get in touch with me. And I talk about at the nutrition section. I talk about raw foods basically without calling it that because and the reason I give is for the hydration levels and the antioxidant levels, which for a healthy voice, you need to have an anti-inflammatory diet and you need to be well hydrated. And you need to have high levels of energy because singing especially takes so much energy. People don't realize until they start a singing practice how much energy is required to sing. They're so tired after like 30 minutes. And that's normal. You have to build stamina. It's like any kind of physical activity.
Mm,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So, but I haven't really talked about it because I've been afraid of alienating people. And so one of the reasons I wanted to come on your podcast as soon as I was done with the voice liberation method was because I was like, it's time to start just like inching little bits of wisdom out there. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want people to think you have to be a raw vegan to be on in my community because that's absolutely not how I feel.
You, yeah, everyone would believe.
They would leave. Can you imagine?
Or
No.
they say, oh, you're so good that, okay, I'm gonna have to try.
But I did want to start just so we started this hydration challenge and it's February. The whole month is hydration challenge. Every day I put in a prompt in the community, encouraging them to drink a lot of water. I'm encouraging green juice, and I've even encouraged eating their water, which we talk about in the raw food world, how the raw food diet, like you don't even have to really drink that much water if you're eating enough fruit and you're not doing like
Ah,
dehydrated foods, you know.
mhm.
So anyway, yeah, I don't know where to go from there, but I thought we could talk a little bit about that, or I don't know if you wanted to answer some questions if there are any.
No, but you only have 10 minutes, less 9 minutes, right?
Let me check my calendar here. We can go a little bit later than usual. I
Okay.
have to stop at 4:10. So, oh, or
Oh,
at 4 o'clock. So, or
oh,
whenever is
that's
good for
good.
you.
Yeah. What I shared is the ultimate vocal hack is your diet secretly holding you back because I know that when you were you moved recently from Northern California to back to LA, right? The Hollywood area, and the moving time was a bit challenging to keep a clean diet.
Yeah.
And then when you were back to this green juicing, you notice in your voice, right? Like you noticed that the was it during your concert that when you sung, it was the best voice, best singing that you were able to sing, and David, your partner, also noticed that was the best.
The recital, I think.
Recital was the, yeah, you had a best. And I'm gonna hydrate my,
Yeah.
this is my green smoothie with beets. It has a lot of greens with 5 tablespoons of chia seeds in it.
That
So
is impressive. Um, yes. So, what Kiko is referring to is I'm a piano teacher, as I've mentioned, and I do 3 recitals a year with my students. And so we had our Halloween recital, and then we had a Christmas recital. I started the Healthy Voice right before the Halloween recital. and so it continued even into the Christmas recital. And yes, I moved right before that, and it was so hard. It was so hard staying on top of my diet. Oh my goodness. But I pretty quickly got back on track, and I'd say by the time of the Christmas recital, I was back on track, and I was drinking a lot of green juice every single day, and I think the two things, when you teach anything, you become much better at it than you were before you taught it. It's a secret. If you want to master anything, I recommend you find somebody to teach. So I always tell my students, my kid students, whatever I taught you today, teach it to somebody in your house. Go teach it to your mom or your dad. Because when you have to look at it from the perspective of a teacher, you have to be able to see it from every side, from all angles. And so when I started the healthy voice and I started therefore having more voice students and having to do this voice work all the time, coupled with the raw food lifestyle, meaning like super hydrating foods, yeah, my voice took on a whole different level. It was so awesome. Like I felt so liberated in my voice.
Mhm.
Of course, I've done the voice liberation method. It's out there. Anybody can take the course. I have not spent a lot of time talking about diet, and I know I need to find a way to tactfully do that. And yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, raw vegan diet, I always see it as it's a cheating diet.
mm,
I feel it's a cheating diet because it's such a miracle diet that, I mean, it's just an amazing diet that clears your skin. You feel so much energy. And again, our body is usually what, like 60 to 80% water. Was it 40 to 60%? That we are mostly water content, right? And as we age, the water contents goes. So baby has more water contents. That's why they look plump and then very hydrated and beautiful. And as you're dehydrated, it just shows. And the raw vegan just naturally hydrates your body, and it's so important. And raw vegan, I feel like it's a cheating diet because of course we will perform better with this diet, and it is a tough diet to practice because we most people don't eat highly processed food. But
mhm.
I have such an advantage eating this way. I wake up so happy, full of energy, and everyone's like, where do you get this energy? Like, well, you got so much going on in your life and you're so happy because I've got the cheating diet, cheating diet. I don't know.
Like a
Like
hack.
the hack. Yeah,
The
yeah, I
hack.
guess that, yeah, the hack. In Japanese, I have a different term, but this,
Mm.
I have it easy with this diet.
I find the same thing is true. The energy levels alone. I know I'm trying to talk about this from the perspective um, of a voice teacher because of the hydration, but the energy level is really important for I'm distracted by these comments. I'm going to close this window. I am not in a band. No, I am a musician though. I
Uh,
used to be in a
You
band.
know, remember
I
race
remember
music.
race. Yes. I'm going to come back to these comments in a moment. But the things I've been able to create in the last 4 months is kind of insane. Excuse me. I have I started the YouTube channel where I post 3 times a week, 3 videos a week. I started a podcast on Substack where I'm doing 1 to 3 podcasts a week. Just depends on my inspiration, like what comes up. Sometimes I'll do an article on Substack as well. I started a community in November. I I'm doing one-on-one coaching, and I just launched a course, a 7-week course. And so a lot of people are asking me like, "How are you doing all of this?"
Mhm.
And I'll tell you my main inspiration is raw food romance. Lissa. So anybody watching this who doesn't know Raw Food Romance, she's always been a big inspiration for me in all ways. But
She's
the
a magician. I was
right,
telling her the reason she's living in Las Vegas because she is a magician. She needs to perform. Otherwise, I mean, how does she get all of that done?
she puts so much content out. She publishes books. She's so disciplined. And her content is so useful. I mean, she is such a benefit to society, all the things that she puts out there. And the way she just like hustles all the time, and I've been watching her for a few years. I've been noticing it. I'm like, okay, she posts several times a day, every single day. That's why she has so many followers on every single platform. She's so genuine. She responds to almost everybody. She really cares. She walks the talk. I've been watching her and I've been thinking, okay, when it comes time for me to do my thing, I'm going to do it like her. I'm going to model after her. And so that's
Mm,
why
wow.
I put so much content out, because I know that that's what you're supposed to do. But it's also just really fun. And I know I have the energy for it. And a lot of that is because of, thank God, I had 11 years of practice on this healthy path. Yeah, someone says they love Lissa. Yeah, she's the best. And she's so generous, by the way. She's been incredibly supportive for me through this process. I've reached out to her whenever like I started getting a lot of trolls on my YouTube channel. I wrote to her and I said, okay, Lissa, what do you do? What do you do? And she was so generous. She just immediately wrote back to me and I felt instantly better, and I felt okay about deleting them, banning them from my, I felt okay because that's what she did.
It's amazing. Yeah. Koala Mama said, I noticed that often as early as 50 years old, the voice can start to sound like gravel for people on a regular diet. And I was worried it would happen to me, but I eat mostly raw foods. Yeah, Koala Mama is amazing. Amazing.
Wow. Now, I'm really happy to hear this because it is a typical typical understanding that voices will change as they get older because hormones change. Okay, there's that. But I would also say, and I'm not at that point yet. Um, I'm going to be 46 in a couple months, so I'm getting closer, but I'm not quite at that point where my voice would change into that voice that she's talking about. However, even at my age, there's enough time where stressors have piled on top of each other, and
Mm,
the voice has become so constricted over time. And so my personal theory is that it has more to do with how much tension you have than age related hormone issues. But again, I'm going to have to wait and see what happens when I get up to that menopause age. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
mm. Interesting.
Okay.
So, yeah, Koala Mama said, as long as I include greens, veg, nuts, or seeds, I always go way over my protein requirements. Yeah, because someone's asked, how do you cover enough proteins with this diet? On
Okay.
only fruits, I just vary, make the minimum amount, just eat enough calories. Enough calories is so important.
Yes, that's true. Would you like me to address that protein issue?
Yes, please.
Okay, so yes, if you eat mainly fruit, yes, you are not going to get enough protein. I mean, you may get enough to stay alive, but as we get older, our hormones change and our muscle tone starts to weaken, and so we do need to think about protein levels as we get older. Most people are so overly concerned about protein that it really doesn't matter. You get plenty of protein if you eat a well balanced raw vegan diet or a whole food plant based diet. But when it comes to building muscle or maintaining muscle tone, you do need to think about it. And so for me, I'm not fully raw. I include beans in my diet every single day, cooked beans, because I don't like sprouted beans. I know that's
He does not taste. I agree. I'm fully raw at the moment, but
yeah.
I do not like. Yeah.
A lot of fully raw vegans include sprouted lentils and other sprouted grains, and it's a fantastic way to get so much good nutrition. But for me, I don't like them, and so I won't eat them. And I'd rather eat the cooked beans, which, yes, I lose some nutrition, but I make up for it in other foods. And I get lots of protein and I feel great eating beans. so so that's what I do. I eat a lot of greens, tons of greens, every single meal, lots of greens. You get a lot of protein that way. Yeah.
Yeah, if I may add to
Yes.
that, I think everyone's different, but I like keeping track on chronometer time to time. I don't do it all the time, but I do notice that even though I do the best I can and everything I eat is very purposeful, just like you are, Bella, but protein tends to be lower. Um, I feel great, so I'm very happy with it. But I don't mind adding cooked beans into my diet. With the huge bowl of salad, I can digest cooked bean. If I were to eat just cooked bean, I would be in a coma. I would not be the same person. I would be mean to people too.
Okay, don't do it.
Right. So yeah, it depends on the person. I know that there was a Mexican doctor, I forgot her name, but she was fully raw and she became high raw because the bean, like for her, protein was very important. I think she's late 40s or maybe, yeah, in her 40s. And she said as she aged, the protein was very important. So she's adding lots of beans into her diet. So I mean, do whatever works. But I do recommend people to check on app like Chronometer because on this diet you feel amazing, and then you might be missing something like B12. B12 might be quite detrimental until you find it a bit too late. So yeah, do the blood check, chronometer.
I agree with that. I think we should all be taking a B12 supplement
Mm,
or
so,
adding nutritional yeast.
right. Koala Mama says sprouted beans taste like grass. I'm with you. Carol Botman includes cooked beans now. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I didn't know that.
that's right.
Yeah.
She also includes tofu, I noticed.
Huh.
I love Kara Brotman.
Yeah.
She
She's
is
such a star.
such a star. I love everything about her. I think she's just
Mhm.
such a good role model, and she's in her 50s now, I think. And I look at her and I think, wow, I need to up my weight gain, like my weight game or something
Yeah,
like
she's very serious about
that.
workouts, right? She's
Yeah,
got the muscle here and maybe six packs. She's Kara Bratman and Marcus. I mean, both of them are such an inspiration. And don't be dogmatic. It's okay. Add some, whatever feels like your body needs, go for it, right? Ray said Bella isn't fully raw because of beans. Beans are have deep heat there. I have missed Ray's liver. He's amazing. Funny.
chickpeas are
Uh,
needed. Chickpeas are my cheat food.
so yummy. I'm not fully sold on the modern B12 narrative personally, and I was that way as well. I used to be quite dogmatic on this diet that I thought that everyone should be on raw vegan diet. But I now fully respect everyone's choice, and I think every person, they are the only person who would know what's best for them.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
um yes. Race. He says, so glad raw food romance is a person. For a second I thought was going to have to seduce an avocado or something. Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, I mean, we have such an amazing ins I mean, this raw food communities, pe people are amazing, like Raw Food Romance, Lisa, Kara Brotman, Marcus, who else? Like there's so many amazing people in, especially older people, elderly people, full of energy, full of muscle. What was her name? She just turned 60, I think. And she lives in California. Dr. Elizabeth. Do you know her?
What's
Dr.
her name?
Dr. Elizabeth.
No,
She
I don't know her.
she loves salsa. She's always dancing, and
Oh,
eh,
yes, yes.
she's
She's a beautiful woman and she lives in LA, I think.
right, right.
Yes.
Amazing, in amazing shape.
I
So
don't know
yeah.
her name at all. There's another amazing inspiration, and who is Chef Babette.
Oh, Chef Babette. Oh my gosh, she's
Oh my God. She's
amazing.
in her 70s, late 70s, and she is so fit. She looks like she can't be any older than 30s. I mean, it's amazing. She's here in LA, and actually now that I'm back, I've been meaning to go to her restaurant because she has a restaurant here.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
cool.
you have to come visit.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so we got a
Uh,
couple more comments.
raw vegans are happy and high vibe. Yeah, that's what I see, generally speaking. Not 100%, not all
That's
of are that way, but
that's true. Some are a little cranky. Some need some chickpeas in their life. That's what they need. They need to let go of this attachment to and just be like a little cooked food is okay.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, now I'm inspired to be fully raw, but I'm definitely not dogmatic. I'm okay
Yeah,
eating maybe sweet potato. Sweet potato is it's fantastic here in Japan in season. Racy birthday. When I first started watching this channel, I was only 9% raw. Now I'm 9.3. Oh, what great improvement.
I
Eating.
ruined it. Sorry, my bad influence. This is
Yeah.
why it's so important to be perfect all the time.
So we've got maybe 5 more minutes or so. Do you want to share? I don't know. I know you have so
Yes.
much to share, but I just want to you know let you go and let you share what needs to be shared before we close.
Sure. I would like to say that people who are in the realm of physical wellness, people who are very concerned about their diet and their physical fitness, it's awesome that they care so much about their well-being. The mental health part is also very important. And what I'm offering is a way to go back and figure out where any kind of unresolved trauma is lodged in your body. Because we didn't really go that deep into that aspect of it, but I'm very much a subscriber to the philosophy that trauma gets stored in the physical body. And I would also go so far as to say it gets stored in the energy body. And that's what we call blocked chakras. And my method of teaching voice is to actually help you investigate and figure out where these blocked traumas are hiding, and then learn how to heal them with your own voice. And by learning how to work with your voice, you can learn how to control your energy, which will inevitably bring you more power and more confidence and feelings of self-worth, and be able to be a greater influence on the people around you. And so, if that's something that's interesting to you, I'll give my link to Kiko, and you can go to my channel. You can start with my videos if you want. You can go straight to my guide, my free guide to healing trauma through voice, body, and nutrition. You can check out my course. It's a 7-week course. I worked really hard at it. It's basically everything. I tried to squeeze everything I've ever learned about this stuff: the voice, the body, wellness practices, mind, body, spirit through the voice, with classical voice technique, which is what really sets me apart from other people doing this sound healing stuff, because the classical voice technique is so amazing. It really opens up your channel in a way that you won't get. And it's weird because we are not naturally we don't naturally use our voice in this way that classical training teaches you to use your voice. And so I teach you how to open up your throat. I teach you how to get the vibrations of your voice to resonate in the bones of your face. I teach you how to use diaphragmatic breathing and how to stay grounded through the whole process. So it's really very exciting. So if it's interesting to you, I hope you'll check out my stuff.
That's amazing. I'm so happy to have you back here today because, you and I have been communicating back and forth quite a few times, and I read your Substack, which is amazing, and I have checked out your videos, free videos on YouTube, and I thought that I was aware of what you were doing, but by you explaining today, I just felt like everything was connected well, that I didn't realize how deep, how meaningful, and how deep your work is. This what you're doing is actually very relatable and so helpful for actually anyone in the world, I feel. Not, of course, not just for singer, but anyone can benefit from taking your classes and courses. And you're someone who's very professional, and yeah, you're very intense, and putting all the information in a very organized way that people can absorb well. So I really trust in your work, and again, congratulations. And I'm really happy to see you fly so high and in such a short period of time.
Thank you, Kiko. Yeah, everybody has a voice, so everybody can benefit from learning how to control their voice and how to feel it a little bit more.
Mhm.
Yes, most people's throat chakras are blocked. I totally agree. Once you start to do this work, you will start to hear it in people's voices.
Uh,
Most people are not aware of this, and so I don't wanna make people self-conscious. Most people are not aware. But once you start to become aware, you can hear it. You can hear it in, I use my own country as an example. American voices have become strangled. It's become a thing. It's become a really obvious problem, and it's spreading around the world. It's not just here, but it is so obvious to me all the time, whether
mm.
watching TV or I'm talking to my neighbor down the street. It's an issue. So
Be careful. Be careful with Bella. She's my analyze. She might analyze what you're going through in your life.
yes, but don't worry, I won't judge you. I'll have compassion.
So, the Race River is asking if there's any video singing. Yeah. So you could just comment on the YouTube, Bella. You can share. I have the what I shared in the description is the Instagram, and then the Substack. So you either give me the link or no.
Yeah, there's really not much of me. There are videos of me on my YouTube channel singing and playing harmonium. So there's that. But in terms of just singing songs, not really. On my website, you can see a few music videos of me singing. Um,
One of
and
the first was it first interview you have sung?
oh yeah,
That was so beautiful. Carol
Carol King,
Carol King.
you've got a
One of my
friend.
yeah, You Got Friend, one of my favorite music sung by you. That was so beautiful. So if you're interested, you can go back to the YouTube on my channel and type Bella podcast, and you'll be able to find her singing.
There's also my Instagram where I'm
Mhm.
trying to get I'm not as active on there anymore, but my Healthy Voice Instagram, I have a few short videos of myself singing and playing over there. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Kiko should make it known that you have to be at least 9% raw vegan to sign up for Bella's courses. This isn't for those snake. Yeah.
I don't mess around with those 8%ers. Those, no, you got to show me you're committed. Thank you, Kiko, for having me on.
Oh, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for your generous time. I know you have so much going on in your life, and I have missed you. We have missed you, and thank you for coming back. And we'll be waiting for you to come back when
Yes.
you're ready.
Yes, we'll do this again. Thank you so much. It was nice to talk with you and with your community, and I just love being able to share all of this stuff together. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ray Stever and Koala Mama, and asking and commenting. We have enjoyed your company as well. Thanks, Bella. Have a great afternoon.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.